Good morning, CCC. My name's Harlan.
I'm John.
And I'm Dean.
And we're the
Canyons Creative Cast.
So for those of you who are new, the Canyons Creative Club is a hub for creative minds at College of the Canyons to come together and create.
Through stuff like group projects, workshops, and events, the Canyons Creative Club provides a rich community of thriving artists that are able to work on their creative endeavors together.
The Canyons Creative Club. Come
create
community. So, today's guest, we have Dean Leever. Dean, would you mind introducing yourself to the CCC?
Of course. Hi, everyone. My name is Dean Leever. I am an English major as well as the secretary of the Canyons Creative Club. Yeah.
I still haven't gotten my coffee.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. You'll learn.
No, don't apologize, Dean. You're not that kind of secretary.
Thank you.
Dean's in charge of a lot more important things with the club than coffee. So, Dean, tell me something. You had a birthday recently, right? You want to share with everybody your birthday?
Yeah. So, so I just turned 24 on Valentine's Day. I was born on Valentine's Day. My favorite running joke is that I was my first ever Valentine's Day gift to my mom. It's a bit of a weird joke, but
Yeah, that's a good one.
But yeah, I just turned 24 for my birthday dinner. We had curry from the Royal Tandoor. Very delicious. I had paneer curry, and it was delicious.
That sounds really good.
I love curry.
Yeah, curry's bomb.
Don't get me to yap about curry.
You could definitely yap about curry.
Oh, we want you to yap.
Okay, John.
And I got a lot of gifts from my friends, which was really nice.
Yeah. Happy late birthday, Dean. So I have here listed on our talking points cats. I don't know why we have that on here. Do you want to clarify?
That was my idea.
I have a pet cat. Her name's Athena. She's adorable, but also a bit of a pain in the butt. But I love her a lot. She's very soft. I like to brush her. It's her favorite activity to be brushed and get attention.
Yeah, I have
So that's probably why Cats is on there.
I have a bunch of boy cats, and I'm gonna be real. They care about attention when it like suits them, but 80% of the time they just like run around and do stuff. But I know from experience, girl cats are like a little different. They like the loving, like attentive time.
Well, my cat only likes attention when she wants attention.
No, that's real. So, Dean, we have a project within the CCC. For those of you who don't know, once a year we do something called the project proposals. And during last semester or this year's project proposal, Dean was the winner for the animation. And it was for a poem that you wrote, right? Grass Boy.
Yes, it was a poem.
Would you like to tell us a little bit about that?
So Grass Boy is a poem I wrote last semester in fall. And I wrote this poem as sort of like that thought of who is that perfect person for you, whether they exist, whether they don't exist. Kind of like this idea to come to terms with finding happiness, and just also that thought of like a soulmate being out there is kind of like we all want the idea of like a perfect person for us, whether they're a friend or a romantic partner. And so that's what really encompasses Grass Boy, is that longing for a friend or romantic partner that just we feel like completes us.
That's awesome. Now, John, you're kind of on the opposite side of the spectrum, right? We're also working on another production called Frenemies. But John, have you heard Grass Boy yet? Have you heard the poem?
No, I have not.
Have you read it with your eyes?
I've looked at it briefly, but I haven't.
Dean, do you have that up to read out to us?
I do have the Grass Boy poem up right now.
Someone's gonna read it to us.
Do you mind serenading us?
We'd love it.
Yeah, I can read it for you guys.
Ah, thank you.
right. Grass Boy. A luscious meadow, soft and full of life, with a smile as warm as the sun, shining down on what's below. Flowers bloom from your body, their smell soft and sweet. Let those flowers caress my cold, shivering body. I fall into you, the warmth of your sun, breathing life back into my meadow. The butterflies that swarm whenever I see you. The way they tickle my face, bringing warmth back into my cheeks. A feeling of comfort washes over me. The same way rain washes the earth, a sense of rebirth comes to me. Your bright petals swarm, they dance with my dead leaves, letting my fears slowly fall away as I see you across the way. And that is Grass Boy.
Ooh, getting some snaps over here.
That's good.
So Dean, we've been working on this production for a little while now, right?
Yes.
And over the last few weeks, you've gotten to see a lot of CCC interaction with this poem, and we got a lot of art getting drawn. How does that feel? How does that feel to have your poem here, kind of being brought to life in front of you?
It feels really good. I've been really surprised and really delighted by all of the art being created, especially of Grass Boy, and it just brings me so much joy, and I've even talked about it with my parents, and my mom was really surprised, and I got to show her some of the artwork that's been posted so far of Grass Boy and the narrator.
Yeah, so tell us about that. You have two characters in Grass Boy, right? You have Grass Boy and the narrator. So can you paint us a bit of a visual picture for the audience who are listening without obviously you did a beautiful job just with the poem on its own. But when we're looking at the animation, can you paint us a visual picture as to what we're going to be seeing and what to look out for in the coming months?
Yeah, so Grass Boy, one of the characters and the title of the poem, he is this mystical kind of boy made of grass. I was really inspired by Fern from Adventure Time, as well as the Sky Kids from Sky Children of the Light, sort of just this being whose very soul is just kind of bright, especially with Fern at the end of his life. He becomes a lot brighter compared to how angry he was, and I wanted Grass Boy to be this ability to make the narrator a much brighter person. And the second character, the narrator, talking about the narrator, he is this angsty kind of emo kid. He lives in the city. Grass Boy lives across this stream in a park, this woodsy park, and the narrator, he's just really feels sad and depressed, and he finds Grass Boy through just looking over at the park longingly, and their eyes meet, and he's very dark, the narrator. He's before he hugs Grass Boy, he's gray-scaled, inspired a lot by Shadow the Hedgehog, in terms of being kind of emo and brooding. And so I just have him as this sort of sharp, edgy character who is then turned around into a much softer character once he comes across Grass Boy.
I think that's something that we can all relate to as a kind of human yearning, like we've all been in a place where we're in that emo phase and life just kind of feels black and white, and having that person to reinvigorate you and bring some color into your life is something that's just so necessary and it's important. So, thank you for opening this up to the community of artists in the CCC. And, I'm very much looking forward to continuing to work with you and the rest of the people on making your vision into a reality. It's really cool to see the progress that's already been made so far. And also, I'm really looking forward to seeing Frenemies as well with John. We'll get to see more on that later. But, you mentioned Shadow from from Sonic the Hedgehog, and something that everybody's kind of been talking about recently.
Wait, hold on. Isn't that your favorite?
My favorite movie franchise? I wouldn't say so, but
No, that's just your favorite series, right? Your favorite video game series, right?
I wouldn't say that personally. I actually haven't seen any of the movies that have come out recently. I'm sure that'll change.
Oh, you haven't?
Very soon.
Oh, you haven't?
No, I haven't. But you know what? I am remembering. You and Dean saw that movie in theaters, right?
Yes, we did.
Without spoilers, do you guys want to talk about that a little bit?
I really enjoyed the third movie. It was actually my first ever experience of the Sonic film franchise. And my brain just went straight to this is great. I need to now go back and watch the other two. And in watching all three movies, I really fell in love with Knuckles the Echidna. He's one of my hyperfixations now, and just the Sonic franchise as a whole. They're just so.
Oh, did you
so
watch
cute.
the show?
I did watch the show.
Oh my gosh. Oh no, we're gonna have to save him. We're gonna have to save him, Harlan.
Listen, John, you're in this too. What was your opinion of Sonic the movie? Have you seen all three?
Sonic. Yeah, I have. Sonic 3 was. I thought it was okay. The only thing to me was that I thought the best part was Jim Carrey. Definitely more than other films, because I did not really like the writing for the characters besides Jim Carrey. He just, in my opinion, carried the film. But
I mean, it is Jim
everything was
Carrey.
pretty cute, as Dean has been saying. Yeah, Jim Carrey is his own person.
Oh.
He goes by his own drum.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's why he's able to be really funny and entertaining in these kind of roles.
You know what else I just realized? All three of us were on a cast of a short together. I think that's the last time we all acted together, at least, was Roulette. For those of you who have not
Roulette.
seen,
Yes.
for those of you who have not seen Roulette, it's a short film made by Sierra, who you'll get to see in a future podcast. But yeah, we all got to act in that together, and it would be kind of cool to jump down memory lane for a second and think about that. Dean, that was your first time acting, right?
For film, yes, that was my first time acting.
Yeah.
It wasn't my first time acting, period. I was in my junior high's theater club, and so through my theater club, we did put on 4 shows in total, my 2 years in junior high. 2 of the shows we actually wrote ourselves as a structure for what's the word for it? It's where a bunch of, I'm so blanking on this word right now. It's where a bunch of people show their talents. Talent show.
Yeah, a talent show. A talent show.
I'm so smart.
You are very smart.
No, you're good.
A talent show.
That's actually something. Funnily enough, I've been thinking about doing a CCC talent show. I don't know how everybody else would feel about that, but I was thinking that could be kind of fun. Yeah, right. I saw the other day, on Friday they had a bunch of speakers down in the amphitheater outside of the ICC, and it was an AOC talent show, and it just stuck with me because I remember we went to the talent show at CalArts, and that was pretty cool, and so I think doing something like that, I don't know, it feels a little middle school, right? Like little high school, little middle school, what do you think? Putting college students in a talent show, do you think that's something that people would be interested in?
Yeah, I think so.
Signing up for and stuff? You know what? You guys let us know. How's that?
I think
We
people would
we will
like
talk
that.
about a talent show in future episodes, but for right now, if you guys think a talent show is a good idea, leave a comment or let us know in the Discord server and or in a future meeting. But yeah, talent shows. Um, so circling back, right? Roulette. So it's a good example of a short film that was done very quickly. But I will say, guys, it ran pretty late, right? Like we worked that together. Dean, as you're opening to
Yeah.
that, what was your feeling? Did you would you go on another film shoot? Would you do that again if it meant, maybe less hours, but just still hanging out with friends for that time period? How'd you like acting? Is my real question.
Um, it was fun. It was also just like a little nerve
Yeah.
wracking. I think I would try that again. With another shoot, it was a lot of fun, and I liked getting to work with people, with my friends, and enjoying like working together, and then seeing the final product, even if it felt a little grueling at times
Yeah.
working.
Hey.
But overall, it was a fun time.
Yeah. I will say, John,
Oh my.
I've been on a couple shoots with you. Um, do you feel like shooting film is oftentimes like it just feels grueling? Because that's been my experience throughout my life. It just feels like a process, like you get in it. You're in the thick of it. John?
Hello.
Hey.
Hey.
Yeah, so I was just asking, how do you feel about the filmmaking process? Do you feel like it's kind of like a grueling work that you sometimes have to like sink a bunch of hours into, and it just feels a little exhausting at times, but it's worth it for the end result?
Yeah.
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 What's your favorite
Definitely.
production you've worked on?
My favorite production I worked on was probably, I'm trying to remember the name of it. Follow the Leader. It was a short film, I think, advertising a Christian summer
Really?
camp, and they actually used Sony, my Sony Walkman, for the project. Yes, and that was nice.
Sony Walkman.
That was a very tight production.
Really? When was this?
Yeah. It's what people used to listen. This was in
Wow,
2023.
that's pretty recent. A Walkman, huh?
Yeah.
Damn. I haven't heard of a Walkman being used in forever. It's awesome.
Yeah, you could walk.
Man.
Yeah, you listen to music and you can walk, man.
Yeah. Music is such an interesting part of what we do, right? Like, animation is kind of like based around music. The beats and stuff make an animation really flow. And same thing for, film, right? The soundtrack sets the mood, the emotion. Something that we did recently that really helps with that, which actually, Dean, subtle plug here, right? Like you did a poetry workshop at last week's meeting. And you talked a lot about
Yes.
how how to make poetry and what poetry is. We did a whole round of questioning on what people think poetry is. Want to talk a little bit about that? How was that experience for you?
The poetry workshop was a lot of fun for me. It was sort of my first workshop I ever put together, and I was very excited to just, for lack of better words, yap about poetry. It was, especially since I'm, as an English major, delving more into creative writing, I really enjoyed being able to break the stigma about poetry, because I know a lot of my peers may not have taken a class that talks about poetry in the sense of poetry can be or really mean anything, because a lot of the times in K through 12 schooling we're all taught that, oh, poetry has to be this insert strict pattern or insert strict meaning here, when in reality, poetry is a lot more fluid.
The inherited verses, right?
Yeah, inherited verses is where it gets really strict, but poetry, even inherited verse or not, has a fluidity to it.
We had like a bit of a heated debate over a poem that Logan brought in. I don't know if we can put that up on the screen, but I actually realized as I took a few days to think about it, and I think I might have thought of the reason that he left those in. And if he did do this for the reason that I'm thinking, it's kind of genius, and I take back everything I said because so it's a poem about a spider, right? Or like this guy is told to kill the spider, and he's like, "Nah, I'm not going to kill the spider. I'm going to put it outside gently." Uh, Very much paraphrasing.
Yes.
It's beautifully written. But I got really frustrated because there's two verses that broke like rhythm for me, and what I'm going to let it. I'm going to believe that what that actually meant was he was leaving the spider in. With the poem. So those like broken rhythms were intentional in the way that it's kind of like the spider that should have been taken out and killed, which is what I did. I killed the spiders. I was like, nah, meet the boot. But he like left it in, and in that way it is kind of like this deeper meaning. Dean, do you have any like examples of things kind of like that where like poems or short stories maybe, but trying to focus on poetry that you've read that on your first read you were like, nah, but as time went on, like it kind of made sense, or like it had like a deeper meaning to you later?
Yes, there's quite a few that I've come across. When one example I can think of is the poem "The Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock" by T.S. Eliot. I first read it and said especially to a lot of the imagery and a lot of the metaphors being made in the poem, I said, this makes no sense, until I looked back at it and talked about it with my professor at the time and realized the metaphors and the imagery were put in there to show things in a for lack of better words, to show things in a more sanitized sense, because sometimes poetry can get dark or gritty or be more explicit in what it's trying to talk about, and then sometimes as authors we have to sort of sanitize ourselves to make it so it's like less explicitly telling what we're writing and more showing what we're writing about. And it goes into this thought of poetry where it's showing and not telling. And I think that's where the poet of that spider poem was really trying to go for, in breaking sort of the rhyme pattern that kind of frustrated you. He's showing what he's doing as opposed to explicitly telling us, which is a really great tool in poetry.
See, me personally, I hate spiders. So, I don't kill them. They just really, they freak me out. Arachnophobia, man. It's a bad thing.
Arachnophobia?
Arachnophobia.
Oh, no spiders.
No spiders allowed.
You know that, like, Peter Parker, Spider-Man, is kind of a spider.
Yeah.
Like,
He is kind of a spider. But,
And a man.
if I were to be like a Spider-Man, I'd be like the Batman Spider-Man. Because, like Batman is Batman because he's afraid of bats, right? So I'd be Spider-Man because I'm afraid of spiders. And I'd become what I most fear. I'd be like, ooh, I'm a spider. That's not the sound that spiders make. I don't know why I made that sound.
Batman afraid of bats?
Yeah, that's his whole bit.
Yeah, he is.
If you
That's
watch,
why he dresses up like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
You think he got bitten by a radioactive bat?
No. I just thought he was dark and brooding.
No. So,
Oh, and you think bats are dark and brooding?
But when Batman was a kid, he fell down a cave, and there's a bunch of bats, and he was trapped down there, and it scared him a lot. and then after that, he was like afraid of bats for years. And then he went and met Ra's al Ghul when he was training to become like a vigilante slash like to become Batman. Which actually at that time he was just kind of like trying to kill people.
Are you just basing this off the Christopher Nolan series?
Am I describing the Christopher Nolan series right now? I think so. I think this is Christopher Nolan's Batman. Yeah.
Basically.
No, that's what I'm so yeah. That's how Batman became Batman. So funny question, Dean, if you could be a superhero, which one would you be? And then John.
Like out of superheroes that exist.
Yeah.
You're gonna hate me when I say this.
Which one?
Okay, I gotta be serious when I say this because this might make you crash out. I would really like to
Don't
be
say it.
Probably either Tails Fox
Yep.
or Sonic the Hedgehog.
Those are superheroes for sure, Dean. For sure superheroes right there. Yep. Absolutely. John, what is your answer? I'm just gonna ignore that completely. Dean, thank you so much for your interview today. Yeah, John, what's your answer? I'm just gonna try and skate past that a little bit.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man? Okay. That's cool. I'd be Iron Man.
Oh, you think you have the Casanova? You think you have the Casanova attributes of Tony Stark?
I'd like to. I mean, like, I don't like to think that I have them. Like, I'd like the attributes. Don't get me wrong. I'm about as smooth as sandpaper. Yeah, but I would enjoy to have the Casanova attributes that Iron Man has. I think he's pretty cool.
Hey guys, any listeners that find this voice attractive, just hit him up, all right? He'll be at the TLC from 12 to 3 every Wednesday. You'll be able to see him, maybe shoot your shot, you know?
Gosh,
He does like girls, from my knowledge, not guys. So, I've tried before. So, just if you're a girl and you think his voice is as sexy as I do.
Okay, and that's a really shameless plug. But if you really are interested in finding me or John or Dean, and you want a nifty little date location, we also have a nice little like Friday night movie night thing going on, right? Like right now we're doing it online, but soon we're going to be doing it in person.
Pause. John has a girlfriend.
Whoa.
My fault. But if you
let's not be spewing out the lingerie.
Hey. Do you guys know where we do the movies?
Yes, movie night. Right now, currently, we're doing it online. We did it online twice this term. And next week, we're going to try to have it in Mentor 305. We got a teacher or an advisor interested. We're going to try to get another advisor interested as well because she said that it may not work every week. This week, however, we did watch Robots from 2005. It was written, or one of the writers was Ron Mita, the teacher for advanced screenwriting. And me and one of the CCC members, Jake, are in that class. It is a very fun class so far, even though it's online.
That is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how is that? How is talking to Ron Mita after watching Robots?
It's good. I actually have not watched Robots before, so the next time I talk to him, I'm going to ask him why he's such a freak, because there's a lot of scenes with...
so you finally got to see how babies are made, right?
Yeah, I don't know that one voice... I don't know that one woman in the movie that's like Jennifer Coolidge, right? The one that's like, oh my gosh... She talks like that, you know what I'm talking about? She is a big bootay in that, and I'm gonna ask him if that was him with his freak, or if that was someone else with his freak, you know?
What?
Yeah, a big bootay, a big gluteus maximus. It's huge.
Chase,
As
do
Donald
not
Trump
put
once
that
said,
on the screen.
It's
Chase,
huge.
refrain.
It's huge.
Chase, refrain. All right, refrain. Also, say hi to our editor, Chase. He's currently putting all the stuff on the screen and making this whole thing for us. Hi, Chase. Uh, and yeah, so we watched Robots
We
this
love you,
last week. Yeah,
Chase.
we love you, Chase. There we go. Everyone show some love to the guy. Yeah, I was actually, oh, another shameless plug. If you guys are interested in getting headshots taken for your acting portfolio, we are also offering that on headshots at in the TLC at five on Fridays at in the TLC. If you guys are interested, stop by. We're going to be doing it at least for the next couple Fridays. Yeah, I'd love to get people some acting jobs and work and stuff. And that's another function of the CCC that I'd love to talk more about maybe next week or in time to come. Speaking of next week, Dean, thank you so much for being our guest this week.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a pleasure having you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I just had one question. If you had one poetic verse to share with the world, what would it be?
Actually, could you expand upon that question a little bit? So, something I've written or something that's been written?
Either. Any just a poetic verse.
Just a poetic verse to share to the world. Let me go through my little writing file, because I do have a writing file of poems.
That's good.
And
John, do you have one?
Actually, I do. You guys know Muhammad Ali?
Yeah.
He did a poem, and it was "Me, We." That was very powerful to me.
so this poem I'm about to read, it's a short little poem, was inspired by the poem to be read from right to left by poet Marwa Halal. This poem I have is called Untitled, with the little segment "Read me from right to left." How do I title you? Here I see you. Without a name, you are unknown to the world, but I know you. It's a short, sweet little poem about the struggles of trying to title something, whether it's a work of art or a feeling. We all have those things where we struggle to title how either what it is or how we're feeling. And I feel like it's a really important thing to know that it's okay to not have titles. But also, titles are cool. That's my little spiel.
Titles are important, and sometimes important things are hard to think about and do. All right, just wrapping this up. Next week, we will be having our next guest, Chase, come on. And during that week's meeting, for those of you who are listening on Monday, if you want a little sneak peek into what we're going to be talking about at this next meeting, it's going to be core stories, which is very exciting. If Dean, would you like to explain a little bit about what we're going to be doing?
So for core stories, we're going to be, I do want it to be a lot more interactive in terms of asking more people questions as I'm lecturing. I just want to make it more fun. And so it's really the main focus of it is on how a story changes based on audience, how at its core, see, core stories, at its core, it is the same story, but it still changes and evolves. There's this notion, especially in the writing world, and in music world and a lot of other worlds, that nothing is truly original these days. But that doesn't make it. That doesn't mean it's not good. That doesn't mean it's not good. That doesn't mean it's not valid. It's just a way to rewrite something and make it your own, and it can still have originality to it, even if it's not, in quotes, original.
Yeah. So basing your stories off of another, or actually, again, for those of you who are not aware of how we're structuring the semester's meetings, we try and make every single lecture applicable to all disciplines. So for artists would maybe be taking a environment or character design from a specific type of genre or story that you like, and then redesigning it for a chef that might be, taking something that already exists, like a taco or a burger, and reinventing it in some different way where it's kind of the same principle, but your own take on it. So not reinventing the wheel in its own sense, right? But figuring out what wheel fits you. So, I think that about covers it. Thank you guys so much for being here. Um, Thank you to our listeners and watchers for listening and watching. Um, John, Dean, do you have any closing remarks?
I just hope everyone enjoys my next little English nerdy spiel of me yapping about things I'm very passionate about. I hope everyone enjoys that because I enjoy it, and I hope you all enjoy it. And thank everyone for having me, Harlan and John and Chase, our lovely editor. Thank you guys for having me on. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, I can't wait to see you guys next week when we'll probably see some live action musical films for our Friday night movie night. I think you guys will like those.
All right. Thank you, everybody. We are going to see
Hopefully
you
we get
again
Metro 305.
next week, Wednesday, 12 to 3 in the TLC. Thank you all so much for listening. We're the Canaan's Creative Cast. Thank you all.